right, let's give about 10 seconds and then we'll get going. Hey, are you guys out there watching another episode of Real Talk with Real Men? I got my co-host with me, Kyle Stanley.
Hello, hello.
And today's topic is fatherhood.
Yes, sir.
Being a dad.
Yes.
Being a real dad, if anything. Kyle, what you got on fatherhood?
Well, fatherhood, being a real dad, is first got to be present.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
That's the obvious
present,
one.
Man, being dependable, being there when wife or child, I don't know if you're married or doing the single thing, but whenever, your loved ones need you, you are there to help and, help them over whatever hurdle they may be encountering or whatever situation they have at hand. Outside of taking on, your own problems and your own daily tasks and burdens, you got to be there to kind of hold the family down as well, keep everybody else uplifted.
Yeah.
Mentally,
Yep.
spiritually, financially, emotionally, all that.
I would say being the realest of dads is most definitely making sure your kids grow up to be good people.
Yes.
Because there's so many people out there that, had fucked up childhoods and fucked up this and fucked up that, trauma this and trauma that. And they place so much that on their kids to where they grow up in the same exact environment, doing the same exact things. So it's more or less breaking cycles or curses or however you want to call it. Because there are plenty of times where I can see myself reacting the same way my dad reacted when it came to either disciplining or a certain situation.
Yes.
And you're thinking, that's not
what
the right way, that's not the right way to do it. You know what I mean? Because, growing up with my dad, he most definitely, he beat the hell out of all of us. I had two sisters. He beat the hell out of all of us. You know what I mean? So, I try my best not to lay my hands on my kids so much. You know what I mean? But there are times
when you feel
you have to, when it's necessary, when it's not necessary. And then there are times where I'll be thinking, like, I should have hit that dude.
Yeah.
Probably not that hard either.
Yeah.
It was like a reaction, you know what I mean? Like, don't do that shit. You know what I mean?
Truly.
So it's like, it's stuff like that where,
always be mindful of and check yourself,
being a real dad for me was where it comes from.
Yeah.
And then living in broken homes,
Okay.
So coincidentally, not to put all my information on there, but coincidentally, I had my mediation today from getting divorced from my now wife that's becoming my ex-wife,
Okay.
And, talking with her about how we're going to do the kids and splitting everything down the middle, blah this and blah that. The kids most definitely came most important in all that whole situation.
Yeah.
And, we decided to go every other week with the kids. Like, I have them for a week, she has them for a week, and, breaking all the expenses and everything down and blah this and blah that, child support and all this stuff, other stuff. It's like, is this really what's best for them, or is this just something me and her are agreeing with? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because then they're growing up in two different households, growing up with two different set of rules, growing up with two different set of step parents, possibly, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Where I can see where it can be a little difficult on their upbringings, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not so much as being present, it's like, what are you teaching them?
Absolutely. You're trying to put the best of your knowledge, everything that you've learned thus far, and as I think, as a people become more emotionally intelligent, we start to check on the emotions of our children and try and ensure that we don't do those same traumas and things. I know I definitely wasn't checked on in the ways of, hey, how are you feeling? Hey, are you okay? Or is there anything that you're nervous about? Are you confident? Are you feeling secure here just being alive? Like, I was never talked to that way in my upbringing. Shoot, you just had to be good, go to school, be quiet and stay out of trouble, and you pretty much coasted through your adolescence, pretty much. You know, if you were that type of kid. Otherwise, getting into trouble or whatnot, you learn your lessons a little harder way. But for me, I tried to stay out of trouble, but I never had anyone check on me emotionally. So I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do just because I kind of learned them mechanically and robotically. But I just wasn't happy about a lot of things, and a lot of things I was confused about, a lot of things I was insecure about, but I just didn't know how to talk to people about it, didn't know how to raise it up or present it as a question or anything like that, because no one above my years ever looked at me and said, hey, your opinion matters. What you feel or what you're thinking matters. What do you have on your mind? What do you think about this? What do you think about this situation? And that's something that I want to be more conscious of when raising my own son, because I see just at 3, you know, how he reacts to certain things I do, and when I'm gone or I'm working or whatnot, you know, he'll tell me that his feelings are hurt or he's grumpy and things like that. Just from disconnection and certain things like that, or he can't get a certain thing at a store or whatnot. He tells you so much that it's just like, man, if I'm, you know, doing these things and you're able to pick up on them in a way that you can articulate how you feel about it already at 3, I definitely got to pay attention to you in the ways of what else is going on that you may, you know, have questions about, or you may be curious about, and anything that I can help you, you know, learn earlier than it took me to learn on my own processes. I definitely want to give you that advantage as soon as possible. Those things I try and, you know, apply to him just in my own fatherhood.
I think honestly, as a real man, one of my biggest either mistakes or regret is not being so involved in everything that he does. So, and I give you a fair example, like when it comes to school, like every single day when he gets off school, I ask him like, hey, how was school? You know, what you learned, this kind of thing, stuff like that. And he gives me these shitty ass answers. I don't know. You don't know what you learned in school?
Right.
Nah, I just played recess. Like, okay, that's cool. You know. So in my upbringing, you know, it was more or less like, don't fuck up in school. Like, you know, my father, he barely passed high school. You know, he barely passed high school. So it's very important that I pass high school. So if I was fucking up doing anything, that was that ass. You know what I mean? But then it's like with my achievements, it's like it wasn't that important to him.
Wasn't clapping at him.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, Dad brought good grades. So I was like, oh, you're not fucking up, right? So I ain't gotta fuck you up. So get out of my face.
As
you know what I mean?
You weren't making a ruckus and either getting in trouble or just out in the streets getting in any trouble. They just paid you no mind, and you know you weren't getting whooped or yelled at and shit like that. That's how it was on my side of things.
And so, actually, coincidentally, me and Kyle actually went to school together. So
back in the day,
elementary school. So that was like, that's 20 years.
Yeah, but
20 years, man. Bouncing around, huh? I think I'm more cautious too. As a father. Because then it's like I'm thinking about all the childish shit I got into.
Being aware of it, man.
You know, as a kid, you know, running around and all this other stuff with my friends and all this other stuff. It's like, because I live downtown, obviously. So it's not like my son can go out and play down the street with his friends or something like that.
At a park or
you
open
know?
grass.
There's not a lot of that running around here. I mean, we have stuff that we can do, but it's a little different, you know, when it's in the middle of the street. That's a little difficult.
I hear you.
And then he was trying to get in a lot of sports too. And I'm not big on sports. I didn't play a lot of sports. You know, I was a little guy back in high school, or back in even from elementary all the way to high school. I was a little dude, so I didn't play football or basketball or soccer or all the other stuff. So he wants to be a little active, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Dude, participate. Do it and participate and support, because that was a big thing for me as well. I wanted to participate in like team sports and stuff, because that just always looked fun, and I always saw my friends and my peers, they always had like a summer team or a summer football team or baseball or something like that they, you know, had a group of friends that they were kicking it with on certain days or certain weekends, or they had a game to go to and shit. They just had activities to go to. I was a kid that I just came outside to kick it and play. I really didn't have no destination or no plans to do anything. It's just shit, whoever was available, shit, I'm kicking it with y'all for today. And I, you know, seen people, you know, build those bonds over the years. You know, you see people play for the same team several years, so they know the same people from all over the city. They know, you know, a little bit more or a bigger network of people, so they socialize. And you're like, damn, I only know people from this neighborhood, that neighborhood, or my people from school and this and that. So I was like, man, I want to, you know, socialize and want to play sports and do that type of thing. But my parents were young. They were 19 when they had me.
Oh, wow.
So at the time of me being of school age, 5, 6, they're right at about 25, 26, you know what I'm saying? So they're taking care of themselves, working and whatnot, hustling to pay the bills and be good, don't get in trouble and shit, so they can make their life less stressful. And that's just what it was, man. So I feel like I missed out on that, like that team playing shit and that teamwork stuff and just that bond of brotherhood of different social circles you encounter as a kid. I definitely want to get I'm about to put him in karate right now. He's about to go to karate. So
there you go.
Get him started to something that he can, you know, focus in on and, you know, find a discipline that we can repeat or a routine that we can get into. Set him up for some better focus because I have ADHD bad. And if I can get him on something that he can focus on, that would be great. Kind of give him a leg up for later on.
Yeah. My son's really big on, I guess, academics. So he's really good at math.
Yeah,
he's one of those kids where the teacher could be talking about other shit and he's too busy doing math shit. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, oh, you could be an astronaut. You know, let's talk about space. Let's talk about, you know, red rocks and shit like that. And then he talks about this stuff and it's clearly that he's learning a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm like, why can't you say this when I ask you every day what you do or what you learned in school? You know what I mean? It's like, this is that kind of father-son bond that I'm talking about. Yeah. And now you can't shut up about the moon or the rocks or all this other stuff while I'm trying to watch TV.
Picking his moments, man.
Yeah, man.
My son is a chatterbox, but then when we go out and be social, he wants to clam up, be shy, unless it's some kids his age or something like that. But even with like his grandmothers, he'll be shy around. So I'm like, man, come on. You know these people. You know these people. Come on.
Still, it's a hypothetical question. What happens for whatever reason, you know, you and your girl split, you know, whatever reason, you know, hypothetical. How do you go about, you know, being there for him at the same time having to deal with that kind of situation?
Shit, I witnessed that. I came up in that type of upbringing.
Don't worry, it's not like I'm asking you for advice.
No, but
maybe I'm asking you for advice.
But shit, I would always try and keep open communication with your lady or ex-lady, wife, girlfriend, whatever it may be, in an adult manner to where you're not being disrespectful every time you talk, to where you're not being petty every time you talk, to where things can actually be something progressive about the child. Try and keep it always about the child and try and keep it positive. You know what I'm saying? Always polite if you can lead polite, you know what I'm saying? Some people like to throw a little jab and hit you with some slick shit every now and then. And you just gotta eat that in the sake of, I'm not gonna lower to your level and have it sour between us, so then it's in turn sour for the kid in some kind of way. I don't want our drama to trickle down to him because we couldn't get our shit together. That's something that I think about because my parents very much so argued amongst themselves. And then they put me in the middle of their bullshit, so I'm up here wondering why I'm in trouble and shit for them arguing amongst. It was terrible. So I definitely don't want to do that type of shit to my son. So.
Yeah. Well, I looked out because me and my wife or ex-wife, we don't argue a lot. We argue over petty shit that actually really didn't have nothing to do with the kids. You know, but for the most part, we keep it 100 about the kids, what they need and what they don't need, and all this other stuff. But I guess my biggest advice for somebody in that situation is to just go to court, you know? Just get a court order that says, hey, I get the kids at this time, you get the kids at this time, and they'll talk about every single thing that needs to be, you know, taken care of. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get fucked over with some child support type bullshit, you know what I mean? Which kind of sucks, because that whole system is a motherfucker that most definitely gets catered to the other side. But, you know, you might have to bite that bullet, but at the end of it, you know, being a father for that child is most definitely more important than whatever
Being
couple
able
of,
to be present.
you know, whatever couple of bucks you got to pay her for this and for that, you know. But I mean, that's the definition of being a real man, is swallowing that bullet and doing what you're supposed to do on your responsibilities.
You have to stand up for your responsibilities, regardless of
You know,
how negative you might have to, you know, go through a struggle or bear a burden for a time being. You got to do what's right in every situation, I say.
Are your kids big on like tablets and stuff like that? Or say you're just your son?
He was, but he had an iPad that he broke.
Yeah.
And then we got him a little replacement, some kind of tablet that was kind of like an Android. And it was slower, like a slower processor, so he wasn't interested in it. So he'll watch TV, but he's not too stiff on like a tablet or having like a phone or anything like that. He's more like a trucks and cars kind of guy.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, I'm thankful for that. Yes.
My kids are big on the tablets, man.
Yeah.
But my son's been through 3 tablets already.
But they were a little up the hill. How old were they?
Nick is 7.
Yeah.
He'll be 8. But then my daughter has a tablet. She's 3. And she has actually one of those little play tablets that can fall on stuff and break and all this other stuff. But then she be taking Nick's tablet and chucking that shit across the room and breaking his shit. It's bad, man. It's real bad. I try my best to limit their tablet use, you know, because of electronics and everything. You know, brainwashes their mind and all the other stuff. You know, it's built to get addicted to. You know, and he got his Nintendo. He wants to play on his Nintendo, playing Fortnite and all that other stuff. It's like, you know, I gotta try to shut that shit down. It's like, hey, you know,
everything in moderation.
you know,
Moderation is
8 o'clock or whatever, you need to shut this shit off. And he gotta give you one of those little
the
things.
Fits are raw. My son at 3, his fits are raw, man.
Yeah, like it's
having patience, fatherhood, man. Patience is huge.
But for the most part, it's not so bad. You know, it has its moments where it gets bad, but then it doesn't. You know what I mean?
What, like stress or?
Yeah, mainly stress.
Okay.
Mainly stress, because it's like, for me, it's like I handle the situation, you know, it's handled, but then I rethink that situation.
Yeah, like, did you do the best
thing? Did I do the best thing? It's like, oh, I should have did this, I should have did that. But then you can't go back, though.
Yeah.
You can't go back. It's like, hey, forget what I said about the thing. Just do this instead. It's like, you already beat my ass, though. It's like, I did.
And I hope you forgive me for that.
Yeah. What happened was,
I have apologized to my son already several times, because just swallowing that pride, it let him know that, hey, I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes. I feel that it is important, because once my parents didn't do shit like that. So I don't ever want him to think that I'm just always right and something that I said is just the absolute authority. I want him to be a free thinker. I want him to have his own thoughts and, you know, definitely process things and kind of make his own determination and judgment on things as he sees fit. But I definitely, when I feel like I overreacted, I yelled at him too much, or I may have whooped him or did something to where shit, now he's crying and I feel like my feelings are hurt. I'm like, man, I apologize. I'm not that upset, or, you know, what you did isn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. You're okay. And, you know, just listen, I'm just trying to tell you to stop. I'm just trying to, you know, get you to calm down. It's nothing severe and anything like that. And, you know, I apologize. I even asked him if he forgives me and stuff. And he sometimes nods and said, okay. And sometimes no, I'm grumpy. I'm mad. And he's mad at me. But I definitely want to ingrain it to where it's not unnormal or uncommon to say, I'm sorry, or I apologize, or I was wrong, because I never heard that shit as I was coming up. And a lot of times, I feel like my dad, this motherfucker, would just tell me some shit that you'd be like, boy, didn't I tell you already not to do this? And I'd be like, bro, we never had this conversation.
We never discussed this before.
And he's like, yeah, I told your ass don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, okay, but all right. And I just have no say. You're a child. So you just have no say in the situation. So it's like, okay, just going along for the ride, and I'm in trouble getting yelled at about some bullshit that I don't think you're right about, but okay. I just don't want to do that shit. That's breaking the cycles that I was born and grew up with. And yeah, I definitely want to give him a little bit better than what I had.
I think another problem that I have is that I have a son and I have a daughter. You know, so it's more or less, you know, teaching my son, you know, how to treat a lady, how to treat your sister, how to treat siblings and stuff like that. That is totally different for women, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, I have to teach my daughter how to be a lady, how to treat people and all this other stuff about respect and all this other stuff. You know, but it's like, if my daughter hits my son and then my son hits my, you know, daughter back, you know, it's like, hey, Addie, you can't hit your brother like this, blah, blah, blah. But then I have to tell Nick, it's like, hey, you can't hit your sister. But at the same time, you want to be able to respect women altogether. And, you know, you don't hit a lady and all this other stuff. You have to teach them that those manly manners and stuff that you don't always teach, you know, etiquette. You know, a girl or a daughter or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, hold the door for the lady. You know, pull the door or pull the chair out for the lady. Do all this, you know, chivalry stuff like that. You know, that's a little, I guess, difficult because he doesn't quite understand it, you know, but at the same time, he's getting it, he's understanding it. But then when it comes to talking with adults with respect and shaking a man's hand and things of that nature, it kind of becomes a little difficult because he doesn't understand the whole reason. Maybe it's an error thing, child error thing or something like that, you know what I mean?
I really didn't start doing it until he's at 7 and shit. I was probably right at about 7, 8 to where I started acknowledging people of my senior as, you know, yes ma'am and sir, and shaking hands firmly, eye contact and things of that nature. And that's just shit I picked up on my own because I saw how advantageous it was just in social interaction.
Because for me, it was more like, you know, you address me as yes sir, and then if you don't, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know kids that were raised like that. Like,
but at the same time, it wasn't stressed all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe every now and then I get away with a yeah or, you know, whatever kind of thing, whatever. But then it'll go back to the yes sir, no sirs kind of thing. You know, it was the inconsistency, you know, that more or less messed it up. Because maybe one year I was doing good, then the next year it's like I was doing bad, and then the year after that was, you know, you know what I mean? And then it's totally different. Here's another funny thing. It's totally different when it's in front of company compared to just you and him or you and whatever. Totally different. Totally different.
On the show when it's in front of company. Oh, I told his ass.
You know what I mean?
My pops was good for that too, man. Got to tell the story from his perspective.
Yeah, so. But I mean, it's not that I'm trying to shit on my dad. He was a good father. He did what he could with what he had. And to be honest with you, you know, it's only till you understand him, it's only till you get old enough and you have kids as your own, is when you understand, like, oh, he was like this for a certain way, or, you know, whatever. And so it's like, well, I guess all the assholes I'm just got to take, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, it wasn't bad. Most definitely being a father, you know, raising children, that kind of thing, most definitely brings the best man out of you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And finding out what that is and trying to do better every day, like that.
Yeah. It's most definitely like the realest of realest men. It's probably why this is episode 2. Because it's the realest of real men is becoming a father and taking care of your kids, taking care of the house, and
to the point I can't really mess with a guy that has kids and really doesn't take part in their childhood or their upbringing and shit like that, bro. I'm not comfortable hanging out with a cat that is not in tune with things like that.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, don't you got like 2 kids you need to be?
I know guys that I've known for years, but they've never mentioned or had a conversation with me about anything concerning their kids. These niggas will talk about basketball, football, the new Jordans, and some other shit all damn day. But nothing about what the baby did, what they learning in school, what grade they in, how old they are, what their last birthday party, what did you do, the last time you took them to Worlds of Fun, Chuck E. Cheese, or anything other. Motherfucker never, you wouldn't know that they have kids because they never mention kids.
Yeah, I don't think
I'd be like, bro, that just ain't cool with me.
Yeah, that's a real bitch shit right there.
That shows your interests are in other places. So.
I don't think I could be friends with the deadbeat
Yeah,
without
and
letting them
ladies
know.
too, because not all ladies are just being great mothers. So
Yeah.
definitely everybody has to be accountable.
Yeah, that is true. Anyway, we'll go ahead and end the episode there. That's
Right.
another episode of Real Talk with Real Men. Kyle, James, we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good night.
There we go. Good episode. Good, about 27 minutes.
All right.
Yeah. Let's get talking.
It was, man.
How's your drink?
Fantastic, bro.
Good, right?
That was perfect.
It's like really good.
That was a real conversation. Chilling.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, more on the damn subject. It's just like, more so this is relevant because I just had conversation with my mom not too long ago and shit. And conversation with her because I haven't talked to my dad in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have a half brother through my dad. I haven't talked to him in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then my mom, who I did have a relationship with, she kind of been like distant and living her life type shit to where she really doesn't interact with my son.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what the fuck? Like my son maybe might see you 10 times or less
Mm-hmm.
in a year. You know what I'm saying? We live in the same state.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this baby. You know what I'm saying? From the time he was born to now, I barely see you type shit. So I'm like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So we went out of town and shit, and I was out of town for 4 days. This was just in February. The point of it is, I was out of town for four days out of the country. And she said she would come by, check on, because she was with my wife's grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
My son was. And she was like, I'll come by, check on the baby and stuff while you're gone and, check on them, see if they're all right. While we were gone, that's when it's like one of the last times that it snowed real heavy here in Kansas.
Okay.
So we come back and shit, and I'm like, okay, making sure that, we've been talking to grandma the whole time, saying what's up, hey, how you doing? And they told us that it snowed and everything. They said they had food and whatnot. But I get back in town, and I'm like, so did my mom come over? She, stop by, see you guys or whatnot? She's like, nah, she ain't come. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you come? Like, you said you would type shit. In 4 days, this lady's 80 years old. She has a car, but she drives and is able and everything. But it snowed. Like, you wouldn't want to stop by, check on them, make sure they got some food, make sure they straight, just see the baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of town for 4 days. You don't see him that much anyway. Stop by, see the baby. Just say what's up. Nah, didn't make it over there. Didn't make it over there and shit. And my grandmother, caretaker, said, oh yeah, she said she was coming by, but so-and-so had to go to work, so she couldn't make it. What the fuck? So-and-so got to go to work. Got to do with you coming by. I just couldn't understand the shit. So I actually said something to my mom. I'm like, it confuses the fuck out of me. And it's to the point of bothering me now that you barely see your grandson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't understand it. I just, you know what I'm saying? I have my own suspicions, but I just don't want to say because I don't want to accuse or make assumptions.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, okay, I just want to let you know that I see this shit. I don't like this shit. And explanation, I really don't even want an explanation because I have my own assumptions. But I just want to put you on notice that, hey, I noticed you fucking up type shit.
Yep.
And it's just like, I had that conversation with her like 2, maybe 3 weeks ago now. And it's been cool because it's been a weight lifted off the chest. It's been a lot of mental space cleared because shit, I've been thinking this shit for 3 years. Like, what the fuck? Why you ain't, you know what I'm saying? I only see you on Christmas and birthdays type shit. And I'm a kid. I always stayed involved with family, and I'm going to call and I come through and see what's up, how you doing, and take mom out with my little sister and my grandmothers for Mother's Day type shit. I did all of this type shit since I was old enough to have money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up doing that type shit. So for us to be so distant now, I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And then, you know what I'm saying, you get to feeling like that person that always makes the first move, always makes the first call. I'm always inviting you somewhere, but the phone don't ring if I'm waiting on you type shit. You be like, am I tripping? or is this really going on type shit. And it's fucked up when it's your close relatives. And you're like, God damn. So
what do you think you're gonna do, or what are you gonna do, or what do you think you're gonna do
with my mom?
Yeah. Well, I guess about the situation.
I really don't have a fucking plan, because she would like to talk to me about. She says she has a problem with grandmother, to why she didn't feel comfortable coming around, I guess. Because we were living with grandmother for a point in time. She has like a 2-bedroom apartment above her house or whatnot.
Okay.
So we were staying there for about a year and a half. Right after the baby was born, like after the first year my son was born, from the time he was 1 to about 2.5, and then we moved to our place out from there on. But during that time, she said she had some unknown problem with the grandmother, so she was keeping her distance out of respect for that. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you say anything? And what problem could it possibly be that you didn't want to say anything and you felt it was important enough to, hey, I won't see my grandson because I'm just going to stay away? It's like, bitch, you could have said, hey, come to my house, or do you guys want to do something out here, blah, 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 no location. A lot of things could have been done other than you being absent. Is what gets me. So I'm just like, I don't know. That's why I don't believe when you say, motherfucker give you all the excuses. Well, I'm tired, I work, and I'm doing this, and I got this going on and that. Okay, and I do too. And I do too.
I do too.
Everybody else got the same excuses, and I do everything I still manage to do. So
I don't want to say I have a similar situation with my dad. It's more like, maybe this will help you in your situation. I'll tell you my story. So when Nick was born, obviously when your kid's born, a lot of emotions, a lot of things are going on, blah this, blah that. And Nick was born in Hayes, Kansas, in that hospital. My mom drove up here to see him. Some other people drove up, see him, that kind of stuff. But I was really hoping that my dad would get up and come see him. And to explain further, my dad's he's a hermit. He don't leave the house. He don't do shit. You know what I mean? And so, I was sitting in the ER, or I said the ER, but in the hospital, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I kind of wish I had my father to come talk me through all this stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then at that point, it's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to hold the baby. I don't want to touch him. I don't want to be, whatever. It's like, maybe if I could probably pack my bag and be on the road in an hour, you know? You know what I mean? And so it really, it hit me really, really hard.
Yeah.
So when Addison was born in on the hospital over there in Quivira in JO.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody showed up but him. You know what I mean? So it's like, I called him. It's like, hey, the baby's born, blah this, blah that. It's like, well, I'll come. I'll see the baby when you bring him over, blah this, blah that. And it's like, I was really hoping that he would say, oh, I'm on my way up there. I'll come up there, because same emotions, same shit going on. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where you try to put yourself in their situation and their viewpoint on trying to understand why you made that decision, why you didn't want to, because here it's a form of selfishness, if that makes sense. And what I mean by selfishness, and when you're being selfish, it's not just about stuff like, oh, this is my glass, I'm being selfish with my glass. You can be selfish with your feelings just as much as you're being selfish with items and things of that nature. So it's like, I wanted him to do something that he didn't want to do. You know what I mean? Whether the excuse of what he wanted to do, he didn't want to do, whatever, is something that I wanted him to do. And I'm getting pissed off because he's not doing what I want him to do. You know what I mean? So
you have that expectation.
Yeah, you have to lower that expectations, but at the same time, you have to get rid of that selfishness in your own feelings to eliminate that anger or frustration that you have with said person. So in your situation, it's like you want your mom to do something particular, you know, whether she did it or not, and obviously you got pissed off about it. You got, you know, whatever. And talking to him about it is good. That's probably something I should have did, was I should have talked to him about it. But at the same time, it's like, talking to him about it is not going to change what happened. You know what I mean? What happened, you know? So it's like, I need to stop being selfish with my feelings and let it go. You know what I mean? For whatever reason it is, you know, it's that selfishness that's holding on to that selfishness is what's pissing you off. It's what's keeping you angry about it. Does that make sense?
I can see the selfishness of having like an expectation of how someone else should behave.
Yeah.
And when they don't do that, like, you know, someone not reciprocating your love the right way in like a boy-girl relationship type shit. You like a girl more than she likes you, so you're like, why the fuck aren't you as serious about me as I am about you type shit. But with my parents, I feel like my expectation is normal. It is... I would say, I'm trying to say bearable, but the more appropriate way for what the subject matter is.
Oh, you good. You can say whatever you want.
You know what I'm saying? No, but adequate. Maybe it should be adequate for normal family interaction for a grandmother to call a weekend or two out the month and say, hey, what's going on? How's the baby? Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Just to check in and type shit. And I say this because I'm around other people and their families. Like, I interact with people that have a good yoke. They have good qualities of being genuine, being honest people, being family-oriented people, being health-conscious and self-aware people, to where I see things in them that I would like to, you know, have within myself, or, you know, qualities that I want to strengthen within myself. I see in them type thing. You know, you surround yourself with those type of people. That saying that they have nice families, they have families that interact, that, you know, communicate with each other, that speak to each other often, that speak to each other and of each other positively. I see them fucking talk, and I'm around like mom and pop. You know, I'll be around for the holidays. I've met aunties and the little cousins and the sisters and the people from Iowa and the people from Florida. So I done met a great deal of different family members of my friends and shit. And moms and dads, they're always, hey, let us get the grandbaby. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, man? Y'all got plans this weekend? All right, well, let us get the baby, let us get the girl, and this, that, the other. We're gonna take her to church, and then we're gonna take her out to Cabela's and get some. They have plans. They're involved. They're doing family activity type shit. So then you're like, well, damn, my mom's alive, my dad's alive. They ain't never asked to get my son. They ain't never babysat. Dude, my mom has never kept my son overnight, and he's 3 years old. She's on some volunteer shit. She's never once volunteered and said, hey, I'll keep the baby for a night, or I'll babysit for you, or do you want to bring the baby over? And then that turns into, hey, well, he needs to spend the night one night, or I want to keep him one night. And she's never done it.
I would most definitely say that's an issue. Most definitely.
But we ain't got no bad blood. I've never had no cuss out argument, anything like that with my mother. So for me to have my first child and she's just couldn't be bothered type shit, I'm just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But at the same time, my mother is now 52, and she's been on this tangent of self-improvement and building herself up. She's on this weight loss journey and things like that. She's lost a lot of weight. She's lost over 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So, like, she's really into herself and digging herself and beautifying herself. She's doing her makeup and her hair and really getting jazzed up.
You think it has anything to do with her younger days of having you? Like,
well, yeah.
I mean, you're out of the house, you have your own thing, and now she's
you had
this
to put
age.
your life on hold type shit. Know? I think about everything like that, but it's just like none of that shit. To me, if you have a brain that is self-aware, I always say what you are putting out into the environment, how people are receiving you. If you are self-aware and you see your son, your daughter, or anyone, and okay, you know that you have a new grandchild, you yourself should be aware of, damn, I haven't seen my new grandchild more than 5 times in a year. Damn, I haven't seen my son in 3 months. I haven't called in blah, blah, blah amount of time type shit. You should be aware, just as much as I'm thinking about it, it should have crossed your mind at least once. If it's crossed my mind 1,000 times.
I hope those dudes don't jump. That would be fucked up.
Oh, damn.
Like,
can they see in here?
They cannot see in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Only at night when the lights are on.
Okay.
But
because I was looking at it kind of pulling up and I could see like some people's cabinets and shit.
There's a parking garage across the street and some dude just walked up there and we're hoping he doesn't jump because that would make some interesting conversation.
Man. Man. But yeah, shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So getting that out of my chest was good enough for me because I've kind of had to self-therapy myself my whole life. Never really had the outlet to talk to and see if what I'm thinking is correct or appropriate and what I should be feeling for the situation I'm in.
I'm sure you're not the only man out there.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't have anything to talk to or anyone to bounce the ideas off of, so talking to, you know, like-minded people or people that are just of some experience that can be unbiased and just give you some input. I'm like, okay, I don't think that I'm being irrational. I don't think
absolutely
that,
not.
You know, I have an expectation, absolutely, but I don't think that I'm being selfish to where I'm like, I'm holding a grudge because I don't want to hurt her feelings or I'm not feeling malicious towards her, like I'm pissed off at you or I'm mad about anything. It's just, I would more than anything say I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Because
I just notice and I see how you're moving and everything that you're doing is showing me that you're not interested. So I'm just like, okay. And I kind of am swallowing that bullet and taking and ingesting that right now type shit. Like, you're just not interested. And that's kind of like what you fear the answer is. But hey, that's the answer that's got to slap you in the face. Like, yeah, you just wasn't interested.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, very tough.
Yeah, I most definitely got to recognize that. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Because I'm thinking in my mind, you know, with my parents, it's like I try my hardest not to expect too much from them. So when they do something, it's reciprocated with gratitude. It's like I don't expect my mom to, you know, buy them clothes or buy them shoes or anything like that. So when she does do it, it's like, oh, thanks, mom. I actually really need to do that. So now I ain't got to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type
and
thing.
I'm definitely gracious of everything like that. I don't expect them to do anything. What fucks up and hurts your feelings is I would think that you would want to do something. Like, I don't expect you to, but shit, I would at least think that you would want to see your grandson to the point of you not saying anything about it. It's just like, well, damn, that means you don't even think about it.
You think,
to me,
you think she's expecting you to just bring him over and do things like that?
I would hope you would say something like that because we had open communication.
You know?
We were on great speaking terms of.
Because like I said,
as soon as you invite me, I'm there. Like, we've gone to her house and enjoyed ourselves, watched TV and shit like that on occasion. But oftentimes she's doing things. She has plans. She has a new guy she's dating. So
living her best life.
You know, all this type shit going on. So it's just like, I see that you living your life at the same time.
Having a woman live her best life, that is a difficult thing, man.
I did not, you know, I had my grandmothers when I was growing up. So this is your turn to be a grandmother and you doing other shit. But like when I was a kid, you was taking me to your mother. So you utilized a grandmother when you were being a parent, but you're not being a grandmother when it's your turn to be a grandmother type shit. I'm like, okay, I hear you.
Yeah, that must be a rough conversation. Like, hey, grandma, why ain't you being grandma? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a tough conversation, man.
It is. It is.
I wouldn't know how to go about that.
I don't. And I don't.
Yeah, I don't know how to go about that one. I'm sorry.
Hey man, day by day, I'll have new news for you next time we record.
All right, man.
About how's it going?
After the episode, I asked you, hey, how's that grandma situation going?
Right, bro. Like I told her, I was bothered by the shit, And to me, that's enough to let you know.
What was her like reply? Like,
she told me that she, one, has no intention of hurting me, and she loves me and the baby and my wife, and we're all family and this, that, the other. And one, she had the problem with the grandmother, so she was trying to keep a distance or be respectful of whatever grandmother.
Sounds more like an excuse, though.
That sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, sounds like bullshit.
Because you dating this new guy, and you got plans with this new guy every fucking weekend.
Mm-hmm. Could be that shit.
I could hit her up about 2 weeks from now, and she'll be like, "Oh, I think me and John blah 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 is probably gonna be doing some movie stuff." And it's like, okay. And then she'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this with him and his brother and his niece. Oh, we're going to the lake to go jet skiing with blah 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 and blah blah blah." It's like, oh, you do all this shit with their family, but you ain't invited you have a daughter and a son. Mm-hmm. You ain't invited us to do none of this shit.
Yeah, that has to be something like with their,
you know what I'm saying?
Either with their childhood or early upbringing. You know,
I'm just curious.
You know, just
it makes you wonder.
It's like once I get this little nigga out my house, I ain't doing shit.
It makes you wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Kill this.
That thing still record? I'll just cut it eventually. Probably as soon as you finish your drink. Turn it on. Yeah.